Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Right, where to start? Quick announcement. Well, kind of an announcement. My subscribers, the numbers have crept up to 156. I don't quite know how that happened. The last time I looked, it was about 152 or 53. So whoever the new subscribers are, because I've no idea who they are, good morning. Welcome to the channel. Hope you like what we're doing here. There's also a Facebook group attached to it. That's basically what this is. It's a bit like a group chat, but sort of one way, if that makes any sense. Feel free to pop over and join the group if you like your movies and you like to get involved in sort of movie chat and all that sort of thing. We have a good time over there. We're a friendly bunch. You'll be made more than welcome. So if you're out there and you've joined the group and you weren't aware of the Facebook group and also the Instagram page and also the website. Details, I believe, are in the video bio. So, as I say, you've been made more than welcome. So, it's there if you want to do it. Right, I'll crack on with comments, I suppose. David Mansell, morning, David. Awesome video. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. Gareth, look forward to your Rothrock interviews. It says, thanks, mate. Much appreciated. They're the first two Rothrock movies that I watched. I thought I was in for a bit of a treat the other night. I bumped into a movie called Above the Law, which I thought Cynthia Rothrock was in, but it was, as soon as I realised it was Steven Seagal, it went straight off. So I'm sure she did one. Was it called Above the Law? I don't know. I thought it was, but apparently it wasn't. So yes, I will be watching China O'Brien very shortly. I may just add it to next month's watch list, which I'm going to be working on later today within the book that I've got. I've nearly finished this month's, believe it or not. I only put down 5, which started about halfway through the month, so I may be a little bit sort of brave and go for 10 for next month. I can't for the life of me remember what the 5 are I've watched. They're in the book, which is over there, so I'll come back to that in a bit. But thanks, Gareth, much appreciated. I will let you know what I think of it. I'm fairly sure I will enjoy them. I do enjoy a good sort of 80s action movie, and especially the martial arts ones. So yes, I will be taking a look at that, and I shall give you my thoughts when I've had a look. So thanks for that, Gareth. Always good to hear from you. Stuart George, morning Stu. Yes, Threads is something else. Back when the BBC had balls. It's absolutely right. Unfortunately, they had them neutered quite a while ago. This is obviously when you could do pretty much what you wanted with drama, and you didn't have to worry about the woke brigade or people whinging or, you know, oh, this is horrible. And of course it's horrible. It's meant to be horrible. That's the idea. So yeah, I do actually get that. I will be taking a look at that Blu-ray that I bought last week at some point very soon. Just basically to see whether it retains the power that it had sort of 40 years ago, which I'm fairly sure it will. There's also another one, another BBC production of a similar ilk that I would like to take a look at sometime. I believe it was called The War Game, and it was I think it was shown on, was it ever shown on BBC, or did they ban that one outright in the 60s? And apparently that's a similar kind of thing to Threads. Obviously it won't be quite as graphic, but I'm fairly sure it will be just as powerful. But I'm going to be trying to track down a copy of The War Game to see how that fares against Threads. What else have we got here? Platoon is my favourite war movie. What are a few of yours, mate? I am quite traditional with war films. I grew up watching quite a few of the older ones with my dad. He used to love his war films. If I had to pick a modern day or modern-ish day, I would probably go for Full Metal Jacket, which I really, really enjoyed, mostly for the inclusion of Nancy Sinatra's These Boots Are Made for Walking, which I thought suited the streets of Saigon absolutely brilliantly and set the mood perfectly. It was also a harrowing film, definitely one of Kubrick's best, so I would definitely go for Full Metal Jacket. Going down the more traditional route, I would have to say movies like The Wooden Horse, The Colditz Story, In Which We Serve. My two favourites, if I had to pick two, would have to be The Great Escape, which was on pretty much every Christmas in the 70s. And my dad watched it every time, which I think is where I got my habit of watching movies more than once. and also Ice Cold in Alex, which I thoroughly enjoyed and still enjoy to this day. I've not seen it for a while, but reading that little post of yours has made me want to grab hold of a copy of that and sort of reacquaint myself with it. I just love it. It's the setting, just superb. And I'd also mention probably Lawrence of Arabia, which I've seen 2 or 3 times. Really, really good. The cinematography is just amazing. Peter O'Toole is brilliant. It's just an all-round good film. Would you class that as a war film? I guess you would. One that I would love to see, and I've not had the chance to watch it yet. I'll have to get a copy of this. Is Bridge on the River Kwai. That was one of his favourites, but for some reason I never actually watched that one with him. Yeah, I'd say, future watch or future first time watch would have to be Bridge on the River Kwai. But my 2 favourites, without a doubt, are The Great Escape and Ice Cold in Alex. I also used to love watching these. Not so much war films. You'll know of these, I'm sure. I love public information films, especially the ones from like the 60s and the 70s. I've got a DVD that's absolutely rammed with hundreds of them. I just watch them. That disc will go on pretty much once a week for 10-15 minutes. It just kills a little bit of time, and as I'm sure you'll appreciate, a lot of the messages conveyed in those public information films are more than relevant today, and I don't know why they don't still show them. They might look a little bit dated, but the messages are still there. But I love watching these things as well. This is public information films of the British home front, 1939 to 1945, and on here you've got titles like Keep It Under Your Hat, in other words, Keeping Secrets, Dig for Victory, Be Like Dad, Keep Mum, Kitchen Waste, and one which isn't listed on here but everybody will know is Make, Do and Mend. But there are loads of them on here, and I absolutely love them. These obviously take you back to a time that I can't remember, but would I have wanted to live back then? I don't know. I guess wartime is romanticised a lot in sort of the movies, and I'm sure it wasn't as nice as that. That's one. There's also this one, Keep Calm and Carry On, which is basically news reports from sort of the front. Is this 1939 to 45 again? Yeah, news reports from the British home front. Not so much from the front lines, more of what's happening here with the families, sort of keeping the sort of the family unit going, that kind of thing, and the sort of stuff that was reported and shown in cinemas ahead of sort of movies like Brief Encounter, that kind of thing. So I love watching that one. This one I've only watched part of. This is Know Your Enemy. Nazi Germany. This is training films for Allied invasion, 1941. This is obviously propaganda, a lot of which I'm sure is true, but a lot I'm sure isn't true, which I'm assuming was shown to the troops to give them an idea of who they were going to be facing when they got over to wherever they were going, Germany, Europe, that kind of thing. I've not watched all of these. I have watched a few of them. Fascinating stuff. And this is, I'm not sure whether they class this as a war film. It's set during the war. Night of the Generals. I remember watching this with my dad years ago and thinking, my God, that was good, even though there wasn't sort of a trace of actual war and battles and this, that and the other. It's more of a whodunit concerning the murder of let me get this right. You've got Peter O'Toole, Omar Sharif. Let's see, a thriller about a Nazi general who becomes a serial killer. And it's all to do with the murder of, I think it's a German prostitute. Is it? Oh, Polish prostitute. I remember the acting in this being really, really good. I just remember it being a really, really cracking movie. I need to upgrade this to Blu-ray at some point and have a look at that in Blu-ray quality. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I don't remember very much about it. I just remember being very, very impressed with it. So that's my picks for war films, Stu. You also did a video probably a couple of weeks ago to do with black and white movies. You picked 30 and showed them off on one of your videos, and there were some cracking titles in there. Shall I run through them now if I can find them? Just bear with me if I just scroll down a bit. You had some brilliant titles. To Kill a Mockingbird, not seen that one. Psycho, hundreds of times, loved it. A Night to Remember, seen it once. That is supposed to be the ultimate Titanic movie. The Incredible Shrinking Man, what a film. Those Jack Arnold sci-fi movies were just brilliant. Tarantula haunted my nightmares for years after I watched it as a kid. Things to Come, bought it on Blu-ray, the same one that you've got. Not watched it yet though. Mighty Joe Young, always wanted to see that because I was a big fan of the King Kong film, the original from '33. I gather that's of the same kind of thing. The Day the Earth Caught Fire, one of my all-time favourites. First time I saw it was probably in the '70s. Loved it. I've had it on VHS, I've had it on DVD, and I've now got a very nice Blu-ray copy of that, which I haven't seen recently, but I do need to have a look at that. The Train. This is one that I've heard basically on a lot of podcasts, probably about a year ago when I first started listening, and one that I always meant to take a look at. The idea sounds fascinating, but I've not got round to that one yet. The Day the Earth Stood Still. I love your taste in science fiction movies. This is an absolute classic. As for the Keanu Reeves version, I've only seen it once, and it was a crushing disappointment. I've not dared watch it since. Maybe I should take another look at it, because I think I get the feeling not so much that you quite liked it, but you thought it wasn't as bad as everybody was hating on it at the time, and they were. So I need to take another look at that. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Never seen it, but definitely heard of it. Night of the Hunter. Colleague of mine loves this movie. She's seen it 2 or 3 times, and every time we get talking about it, she always says, "I can't believe you've never seen Night of the Hunter." Robert Mitchum is apparently as scary as hell in this. Citizen Kane, absolute stone cold classic that I've never seen. So that's another one for my never seen thread. You Can't Take It With You. Never heard of that one. The Fallen Idol. I've heard of this, again, podcast, heard about it probably about 3 months ago. Wanted to take a look at it, but as yet I haven't done that. Night of the Living Dead, absolute classic. Was Zombies Dawn of the Dead better? Callie would agree with that, definitely. I know it's probably one of her favourites, if I remember it. I think it's Callie. I hope I've got that right. I'm sure it's one of Callie's favourites. I loved Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead wasn't so keen on, but I do need to take another look at it. But Night of the Living Dead, seen it quite a few times and absolutely adore it. The Elephant Man, brilliant movie. Anthony Hopkins, as you say, superb. It's a Wonderful Life, goes on every Christmas, never fails. Raging Bull, I remember seeing this one, would have been 1980-ish at Burton Odeon. The boxing scenes were just electric. I'd never seen it. I don't think anybody had seen scenes in the ring like that. It was painful. You felt every blow. The bit I didn't like was where he was punching. Was he in a cell? He got arrested or something, and he was punching hell out of the wall, basically breaking his knuckles, which I was not impressed with. Birdman of Alcatraz, bought it the other week, as you know, but not had a chance to watch it yet. Scrooge, the 1951 version with Alistair Sim, superb. Again, every Christmas. The Innocents, seen it 2 or 3 times. Cracking horror movie, more of a ghost story really. Deborah Carr. Night of the Eagle, saw this years and years ago. It's Peter Wingard, who went on to be Jason King in Department S, and then got his own series. Really, really good story of sort of very much in the ilk of Night of the Demon, that kind of thing, to do with witchcraft. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, that's a Western I've never seen. And Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein never fails to make me laugh. Absolutely adore that movie. So they were your 30. I don't think I missed any. Let me just go back up to my notes. Let's see. I will show you 5 of mine that I've seen, but quite a while ago. I have got more than this. I looked along the shelf and there were quite a few black and white movies that I've not had a chance to watch yet. So what I'll do is I'll talk about those and show those off, and I've actually watched them. First one, saw this one probably about a year ago. That's the French title above, which I can't. Is it Les Yeux Sans Visage? Eyes Without a Face. This was one of the French New Wave films. I believe it came out about 1960. I can only imagine the trouble this had with the UK censors when it first came out, because the surgery scenes in this, for saying it was 1960 are horrendous, really, really bad. But this is a cracking movie. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's to do with a doctor whose daughter is disfigured, and he's basically luring unsuspecting young women back to his country mansion in order to take their faces. Yes, I'm sure that's right. If you've not seen this, it's a brilliant movie. And just in case you're wondering, as I was, and I had to look this up, is Eyes Without a Face, the Billy Idol track from the 80s, based on this. It was his inspiration, believe it or not. He loves this film, and that was where he gleaned the title from. So that's one. Next one, some of these are still in the cellophane, but I have seen it before. The Tingler. This is from William Castle, who was the king of sort of exploitation gimmick movies in the 50s and 60s. He used to have things like, let's see, for House on Haunted Hill, he had a luminous skeleton that used to fly out over the heads of the audience at a certain point. This one, he connected cinema seats up to the electricity to deliver a very mild electric shock when the Tingler appeared. That's the back of it if you want to read the synopsis. But this is a brilliant film. I absolutely love this. I've seen it a few times. I think the last time it was on Channel 4 quite a few years ago. So I've not seen it recently, but I definitely want to take another look at that. City of the Dead. This is another classic witchcraft movie. Stars Christopher Lee, I believe. Let's see. No, I'm not going to read the synopsis out. This is one that you need to discover for yourself. Again, the cinematography, the photography in this is just brilliant, and it's got a really, really creepy small town atmosphere about it. Highly recommended. I believe this was about 1960 as well. Does it say? Yes, it is 1960. Definitely recommended if you've not seen it. This one, I listened to a podcast on this about 6 months ago, and got the soundtrack to this on Spotify straight after and listened to it straight through and absolutely loved every track on it. I've yet to watch the movie. Al Jolson in The Jazz Singer. This was obviously 1927 if I remember correctly, and it's not going to say on it, which is 1927. This was the very first talkie movie. Up until then, it had just been silent movies with music soundtracks. This was the first, basically, movie that you actually heard somebody speak. It has got the most amazing soundtrack. I've yet to watch the full film yet. I can't wait to take a look at it. I say this all the time, but I've not had a chance yet. But I will be taking a look at that one very soon. And finally, this last one, we studied this book at school in English Lit. I've still got my copy of the book upstairs. They showed us this film as a treat one afternoon, basically to run in conjunction with the study of the book to give us a better idea of what we were reading. Lord of the Flies. This is about a group of kids that are stranded on a desert island in the middle of what is supposed to be a nuclear war, I kind of think. And it basically details their sort of route into savagery, having to kill animals, killing each other, that kind of thing. This was a brave movie for 1963, I think, when it came out. And if you've read the book, you'd know why. The book is brilliant, absolutely superb. It's probably one of the few books, not including Kes, that I really, really did enjoy reading in English Lit. I haven't read it recently, but I've still got that copy upstairs from school, as I've still got my copy of Kes upstairs. But that is a classic black and white movie if you've not seen it. And that is 5 of my black and white choices, Stuart, so I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, I've got loads more upstairs, but I want to watch them. I don't just want to show them off saying this is one I've never seen. Which happens quite a lot, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So thanks for that, Stuart. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. Jason K. Ginger Ninja. Morning, Jay. It's Skynet. The machines are taking over and destroying all your notes. Call John Connor. It did kind of seem that way. I still, to this day, have no idea how the hell that happened. Whether I deleted them by accident, I don't know. or whether the machine had done it, God knows. But just to wake up and suddenly realise that everything you've been working on throughout the week has just disappeared and you've got to do it all over again. I came so close to losing it with that, but I didn't. So let's see. 70s sci-fi is my jam. All those that you listed are pretty much the same as my favourites. Growing up on Charlton Heston in The Omega Man and Soylent Green, so good. I still enjoy rewatching them now. I feel a season of 70s sci-fi coming on, or I'm maybe just going to integrate them with my never seen thread, which I'm still inclined to call first time watch, or Tone's first time watch, just to sort of keep them away from Mark's and Jason's, which I'm absolutely loving, by the way, absolutely loving. I still need to see threads. There are so many I need to see. I should start a list and cross each off as I finally get around to them, which is why I've basically bought that book, which is definitely coming into play. We'll go back to that in a bit, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. My viewing was in no order whatsoever until I got that book. It was kind of all over the place. Yes, I have watched a couple of movies that aren't on that list, but you can't be 100% rigid on these things, can you? Deadpool 2, I liked it just as fun as the first, but a little bit darker. I don't know. I mean, yes, it was okay. It was all right. The same as the other Deadpool movie. But would I watch them again? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. If I accidentally ran into it while channel hopping one night, I might leave it on. But I wouldn't. I can't see myself actively going out and seeking the movie again. Hang on, let me just centralise myself. I don't know how that's happened. Have I moved? Must have done. Yeah, they were good, and I'm glad I've seen them. But would I watch them again? Don't know, probably not. The Crazies, I fucking loved it. Exactly how a remake should be done. Callie said exactly the same. The Crazies is one of the movies on this month's watch list, and I may have to transfer it onto next month's because October starts in 2 days, I believe. So I've got a bugger all chance to watch it. Might do. We'll see how we go later on. But I'm definitely looking forward to the original. That's more my ilk, is sort of 70s movies. So the original of that from 73, I'm definitely looking forward to, and I'm sure it will fire me up to want to watch the sequel, which will almost certainly go on to next month's watch list. The Hangover, good fun on the first few watches, loses its charm after a while. Now then, I watched the first one last night, which is on the watch list. I'll give you my thoughts on it next week. I need time to get my thoughts together on that one. I've not seen anything quite like that at all. But I'll come back to that one next week. I will be doing a sort of a proper little chat about The Hangover next week. The Outlaw Josie Wales, haven't seen in a long time. Cracking Western, superb. Waking Fright, haven't seen but adding to the list. An Australian classic, dude. I'm amazed you've never seen that one. Mind you, it'll be a bit before your time, I guess. I haven't seen it, but I've heard so much about it. I know for a fact I'm going to have serious issues with the kangaroo cull, whether that's halfway through or whenever. But I will watch it, but I'm fairly sure if the movie stands up to repeated viewings, I will be skipping that scene. It's something that I will only watch once. But the movie itself, who knows? But it sounds brilliant. I think it was part of the early stages of the Australian New Wave, early 70s, where you got movies like, let's see, Walkabout, all that kind of thing, Devil's Playground, all that kind of thing. But I've not seen it yet. I'm hoping to get a chance to watch it over the next few days. Attack the Block, enjoyed it, a lot of fun, but yeah, I get the way they talk is annoying. Annoying is not, it doesn't even begin to cover it. Made me want the aliens to win. Yeah, it did me as well. It just irritates me. That way of talking just winds me up, as you all know. It is an absolute pet hate of mine. We've had a couple of people at work who actually talk like that, young people. And as soon as I've heard them, I thought, please don't talk to me because I won't understand the words you're on about. But it's just, I don't get it. I've never ever understood how somebody living in this country can talk like that. Yes, I know it's an accent like any other, like the Geordie accent, like the Brummie accent, but it's not, is it? It's not native to this country, is it? It just isn't. And we're not getting into that again. Awesome mugs. I'm banned from buying any more as I have too many. I would love to see the ones that you've got, Jay. Very much so. I love stuff like that. There are a couple more that I need to get, but I'm going to hold off just for the moment. I've got one more space on the, or maybe two, on the mug rack for another couple. I would love one of Saturday Night Fever, but I need to email the guy to find out whether he's actually got one or whether he can make one of that. And then I've got my two favourites ever on there, and maybe Witchfinder General. But there are so many. When I look at them on eBay, pretty much all of them I'll look at and think, oh God, oh my God, that would look brilliant. So yeah, I would love to see the ones that you've got, Jay. I have heard of Dead End Driving, and it's one I've always considered checking out. May have to now. Again, podcast on Australian cinema, and this was one that they dedicated a whole episode to. And as soon as the podcast finished, I was straight on Amazon and thought, I've got to get this. And obviously found that Arrow Blu-ray. It sounds really interesting. It's not what I thought it was going to be. Nothing like what I thought it was going to be. But again, that may make it onto next month's watch list. I'm going to be trying to watch movies, not so much as soon as I get them, but hopefully within like 10 years would be nice. But yeah, I would be very curious to see what you think of that. The Fly is great. It is. Absolutely. It's an amazing movie. One of Cronenberg's best. Take that out of it and it will be perfect for me anyway. As you know, I'm not in favour of anything censored or cut or anything like that. But if I could buy a version of that with that scene taken out, I suppose I could edit it through certain software. I would do it because the rest of the movie I can watch quite happily. It's just that scene. And as Callie mentioned last week, if I watch the documentary on the making of The Fly, which is over 2 hours, which is on the Blu-ray that I've purchased, apparently when you know how it's done, it's not as gross. So I am going to trust her on this, and I'm going to see what happens when I do watch it, when I finally get around to taking a look at it. Cynthia Rothrock, I grew up with her movies and loved them. She made so many kick-ass flicks in the early 90s and onwards, and still is. I think she's done one recently called Black Creek, which I was talking about probably a couple of weeks ago, which looks interesting. I haven't seen one yet. I've not seen, as I say, I've got China O'Brien 102, so 1 and 2. So that, I think, will be a good starting point for the Cynthia Rothrock journey. So I'll let you know what I think of them, but I've never seen one, so I can't comment on that. Great vid, Tony. Have an awesome week ahead. Cheers, Jay. Much appreciated. Always brilliant to hear from you. Right, we're coming up to 30 minutes, so I'm going to take my first break, and then I've got a few more comments to do, a few bits to show you, and hopefully bring this in under an hour. I think so. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. And we're back. Right, on with the comments. Mark. Morning, Captain, he says. Morning, sir. How are you? So glad you watched Talk to Me. I really enjoyed it. Also really enjoyed Jason Kerr's unboxing video of The Hand that he did a couple of months ago. I really enjoyed Talk to Me, Australian horror at its best. Yes, it had a few gnarly bits in it that I could have done without, the eyeball being one. But on the whole, I really, really enjoyed it. And the most surprising thing was I actually got the ending. I understood it. I had the horrible feeling that we're coming into the last sort of 15 minutes. I thought, I know where this is going. This is going to have one of those really confusing endings. One of those, we want you to put your spin on it. I don't want to put my spin on it. I want you to tell me how it finishes. And it pretty much did. Yeah, really, really good. Why Jason would want that thing in his living room, I do not know. just the sight of it gave me the creeps, especially after actually watching the film. Um, but yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Would I watch it again? Probably, yeah, more than likely. As I said, was it last week? I think there are talks of a sequel um, in the works, and I was pretty much saying that I really, really hope it's not an origin story as to where the hand came from, because part of the fun of it, um, part of the sort of sinister look of it, was pretty much knowing that nobody knew where it had come from. It had just been handed down from person to person, and that was part of the charm of it. So if they give that away, it'll kind of kill a little bit of the mystique it had about it. But really, really enjoyed the movie, Mark. Definitely, those mugs do look really nice. They're gorgeous, aren't they? I mean, Christmas is coming, and I can't think of a nicer idea than to give somebody something like that, especially if you know what their favourite film is. And this guy, he does pretty much everything. So yeah, I'm really impressed with them. You say you watched 3 out of your 5 watch list movies, but did you go back to Deadpool 2? As you said, you had 40 minutes left still. Do you know what? I would love to sit here and say, yep, yep, absolutely, yep, watched it, really, really good. I haven't yet. I can't lie. I just can't lie well. I'm just crap at it. I do need to watch the last 40 minutes, and you have my word as a gentleman and as a captain that I will watch the last 40 minutes before I do next week's video. When I was talking about it earlier on, saying that I had enjoyed them, I have enjoyed them so far, but I just do need to get that last 40 minutes watched, and it will be done by the end of next week. So apologies for saying what I said earlier on, because I shouldn't really have said anything like that, not having finished the second one. And I do need to get cracking on Logan and the other Wolverine movies before I attack Deadpool versus Wolverine, which I'm fairly sure is going to turn up on Disney Plus at any point now. So I do need to get cracking with that. So yes, in all honesty, no, I haven't watched it, but I will do. 310 to Yuma is a great movie. It's also a remake. It may star Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, but for me, Ben Foster outshines both of them in this movie. I think I'm going to stick this one on next month's watch list. I do enjoy a good Western. I don't watch many of them. I love the Clint Eastwood westerns. I love the classic westerns like The Magnificent Seven, Shane. High Noon is one that I need to catch up with at some point. Never seen that one, but I do love a good western, so I'm going to attach that to next month's watch list, I think. Great video, mate. Same time next week. Thanks, Mark. Much appreciated. And yes, I will be back next week at the same time. You're Never Seen It this week was Billy Elliot. I wasn't sure what you were going to make of this. I was not so much dreading reading your review of it, but I thought I pretty much know where this is going. Billy Elliot, again, not my kind of film, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Would I watch it again? Probably not. 6 out of 10. You know what? At least you made it through it. That's the main thing. So looking forward to hearing what next week's choice is. Mine is going to kick off any time now. I've sort of watched a couple, but I've not officially started it yet. I did watch one on Friday night that I hadn't seen before. Somebody at work recommended it to me. It's a remake of a Korean movie that I'd heard an awful lot about. And every time somebody talks to me about it, the first thing I think is there's no way I'd make it through that. I can't see it. But I did. I'll put a post on about that sometime within the next few days, and I'll probably talk about it next week. But it was a bit of a shocker, to say the least. So I'll come back to that one. So thanks for that, Mark. Much appreciated, mate. Always brilliant to hear from you. Callie. Morning, Callie. Saturday morning Tony time before I go and watch Beetlejuice. Lucky mare. I've only seen the original Beetlejuice probably a couple of times. Really, really enjoyed it. But I'm definitely up for watching this reboot, most definitely. Yay, another person that remembers Bravo. Remember it very well. Going on your list of 70s sci-fi, there are some awesome films from that time. But I'd have to say the 80s took what they were doing in the 70s and just turned it up to 11 with the likes of The Thing, The Fly, and of course the Back to the Future trilogy. The 80s was brilliant for sci-fi, but for me, as I said, the 70s, hands down, I just love the look and feel of 70s science fiction. Um, can't beat it. But there were some classics in the 80s and some real obscure ones as well. Um, oh, gotta love a good old black and white movie. My personal favourite is The Elephant Man. John Hurt at his best was brilliant. And for a David Lynch film, it actually made perfect sense. Um, Superb movie. Again, saw that at Burton Odeon when it came out, and that would have been about 1980 as well. Really, really good. Classic movie. Threads. Heard of it, never seen it. So there's another one for my Callie's never seen list. It's distressing stuff, Callie. It really, really is. And I'm fairly sure that when I watch it again in the coming weeks, for the first time in many, many years, I'm fairly sure it's going to retain the power that it had the first time I saw it. I would definitely recommend it, but don't be on a downer when you're watching it, for fuck's sake. That will definitely send you over the edge, but it's definitely worth a watch. Ghost Watch. I remember all the drama it caused when it came out, with people thinking it was real, a bit like the War of the Worlds radio play in the 1950s. Good comparison. Orson Welles knew what he was doing when he did that, I'm fairly sure of it. And it was done at a time when people were a lot more naive than they are now. And it's one of those things that you think you could never do that nowadays. You couldn't really get away with it. And then the BBC did it with Ghostwatch in '92. Whether you could actually do that now, because with the advent of sort of AI and YouTube and all this sort of thing, you can pretty much convince anybody of anything. So I think you'd really have to go some to convince people that something like a modern day Ghostwatch was for real. But at the time, shocking stuff. I thought it was. And if I'm fairly sure that if I watched it now, it would still have the same impact, maybe a little bit lessened, but not. Yeah, definitely. The first Doctor Who you remember seeing was your dad. Let's not forget, honey, you are Tony Harris, the son of the Pertwee. I never forget that. And I never get bored of being reminded of that, so thank you of that. Platoon is my favourite Vietnam War. 4, 3, 2, 1. Platoon is my favourite Vietnam War movie. The soundtrack alone is incredible. I need to get a hold of a copy of Platoon. I haven't seen that since it came out on VHS. I can still see the VHS box now. I believe it was in a red box, not a black one. The plastic colour, that is. But I've not seen it since then. I do remember the scene where they enter the Vietnam village, which was pretty brutal, but I can't remember much else about it, so I do need to take that one in again. Psychomania, yet another film I've seen thanks to the Bravo channel. Isn't it brilliant? I just loved it. Didn't rate it much the first time I saw it. Watched it again a couple of years later. Absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to watch it again. Sam from Sammy G's World of Cinema, he watched it, I think it was yesterday, for the first time, and I think he called it something like a solid watch. So I loved it, absolutely adored it, and still do. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the Russ Myers movies. I think Faster Pussycat Kill Kill is one of his first. I can't wait to get into these. I don't know why, I just find the whole idea of it fascinating. The fact that you could actually make movies like this in the mid-60s and get them past the censors on both sides of the Atlantic. I can't wait to take a look at these. Robert Stack voiced Ultra Magnus in the Transformers movie. The Transformers, the movie from 1986, a personal favourite of myself and Guy's. I had a feeling it would be that one. So, in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, he and his wife go to see Breakfast at Tiffany's in the cinema. We were talking about this last week. When the Mickey Rooney scene is playing, everyone is laughing their asses off. Everyone apart from him. He then looks around at the audience and sighs. This then prompts his wife to do the same. The moment she gets why he's so upset, they both get up and leave. It's more about the tone of the scene, to be honest. Here he is trying to break into Hollywood and become a star, but then he sees how Hollywood views not just him, but Asian people in general at that time. I saw that scene, I found it on YouTube and watched it, and it is quite sad. It really, really is. to think that that kind of prejudice existed at all, let alone a mere 50 years ago. And I guess it still exists now to a certain extent. Um, but I would love to see the whole movie. Definitely. I'd watched the trailer to it straight after I'd watched that scene and thought, yeah, I need to see that. I've seen it a long time ago, but a long, long time ago. At this point of watching, I have to say Christopher Nolan did the Dark Knight trilogy. I absolutely, completely blanked on that last week. I don't know what went wrong. I just sat there and must have been for a good 15, 20 seconds trying to remember, and I could not do it. The Warriors video game. I'm pretty sure if you look on YouTube, you'll be able to find what's called a long play vid, where someone plays the game from start to finish without any voiceover. Basically, like watching a really long film. That, or just look up the cut scenes from the game. I'll have a look. It's not really my thing. Games have never been my thing. You put Tony as a secret gamer. Well, I didn't see that coming. Well, check this out. I promised I'd show this off. This hasn't been out of the cupboard in ages. It's absolutely caked in dust. But that is my only games console. If I just unwrap all this cabling shite that's around it. There it is. You just plug it into the back of the TV and Space Invaders pops up, and it is just left, right, fire. And that's it. That's as technologically advanced as I want to go. I haven't played this for ages, but I would love to do this again. So I may plug that in at some point and see whether it's as frustrating as I remember it being the last time I played it. But I do love Space Invaders, and this also has, I believe, Phoenix and a couple of others on it. So yes, I will be taking a look at that again sometime. So that is my version of gaming. Unfortunately, I've got to start getting ready to see Beetlejuice. Yes, it takes me that long to get ready. Surprises me. I'll be watching the last half hour when I get home. Another cracking episode, honey. Thanks, Callie. Much appreciated. I read your thoughts on the movie that you've been to see, and I believe you were quite happy with it. I will definitely take a look at it. I'll probably grab a Blu-ray when it comes out, almost certainly, because it is one that I want to see. So thanks for that, Callie. Much appreciated. Always look forward to reading your comments out and to reading your thoughts on stuff. So, Jason P. Morning, Jay. Great video, mate. Early watch today as the grandkids will be here soon and they are having a sleepover, so I won't get a chance later. And I like to get my comments in for you, which is always appreciated. Threads is repeated on October 9th on BBC4 as it's the 40th anniversary of it. So yes, I'll give it a whirl. Really curious to see what you're going to make of it. I don't know. It could swing either way with you on that one. I think it's a really powerful piece of television. And it certainly was back 40 years ago. But what you'll think of it is another matter. So I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what you think of that one. Don't make it you've never seen and put it off till next week, please, because I'm dying to know what you think of that one. Railway, I couldn't say this last week. Railway Man and Unbroken. Yes, again, these are not violent movies like Rambo 4 that you watched. It's just that they're true stories. They're not so much violent, it's more the things they were made to do and had to live through. You won't be disappointed. I get the feeling that these are also going to be added to the watch list, and seeing as I can pick 10, I'm fairly sure I can make room for those two. Yes, I meant Dosser, not Tosser, as this is what another boxer calls him, and the name has stuck, so it wasn't spelt wrong. This is to do with that fight that was on last week. The names of the fighters I can't even remember. That's how interested I was. I have only bought 14 movies in 9 months. Some of those are from Never Seen too. I'll be adding Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Orca next week. I'll show you what I've bought this year at the end of the year. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I get the feeling I am going to add that to my Christmas list. And I'll tell you for why. Rob's already been asking me what I want, Blu-ray wise, 4K wise for Christmas. I like to give him titles that he can actually find. He's not one for scouring the shelves for obscure movies. He normally ends up going up to whoever's behind the counter and saying, could you just find these for me? So I would like to give him a couple of titles that he'll have no problem finding, because Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will be pretty much front and centre. So I get the feeling I'm going to add that to the Christmas list, and I'll tell you another reason why. It'll give me chance to catch up with the previous three movies. Um, I'm eager to watch it, don't get me wrong, like you, Jay, but I'm not eager in the sense of I can't wait to watch it. I can hang on for another 2-3 months quite happily. I'll no doubt have your review of that when you grab your copy, which I'm looking forward to watching. Obviously, it doesn't even matter if it's spoiler free. I pretty much know what's coming, so I think that's what I'm going to do with Kingdom of the Planets of the Apes. But let's see, shall we? And that's it for this week, I'm afraid. Oh my God, what happened, Jay? God. I know you're busy. I know you're busy, mate. P.S. You say Talk to Me didn't have a happy ending. Here we go. But I can recommend some movies that have these. But I'll leave it there. But for fuck's sake, don't. And I repeat, do not go to the cinema and ask someone behind the counter if you get a happy ending at the end of the film. Strangely enough, Mr. Parry, I have no intention of going to the cinema, let alone saying to the girl behind the counter, can I have a happy ending with this film, please? Or have you got one with... No, 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 no. 1,000 times no. I do get your point, though. Cheerio, he says. Never seen it. This is your never seen, Jay. Week 39, POW, The Escape from 1986. I remember seeing this on the VHS shelf when I worked there. I think it had been out for quite a time by the time I got there. And it was one of those that was constantly just covered in dust and never moved. Colonel Cooper leads a group of American POWs battling their way to freedom as Saigon falls to the Viet Cong. So, talking of prisoner of war movies, I always remember seeing this on the video shelf in the 80s, as I said. I didn't want to waste my £1 renting it though. I saw that it was free on Prime, so thought I'd give it a watch. It's a bit naff, but typical 80s, which typical 80s is a bit naff, isn't it? Never Seen for 2025 is looking damn good so far. I now have 23 movies lined up, which takes us to about May. Not one film after 1988 yet on that one. Oh, I'm really pleased you've decided to carry it on. Really, really pleased. Between you, Mark, and me, I think we've got Never Seen covered. Let's see, this year is covered as it was 4 months ago, and then I had an influx of movies, so it was either one every day in December or Carry On. The best option was to Carry On, as this gives me more time to find some more. I will watch some that I've turned off after half hour in the past. I can think of 3 70s classics, well, to you anyway. That's supposed to be. I will give another go. A lot of mine will be from the 70s, because even though I love 70s cinema, there is an awful lot of 70s movies that I haven't seen. So yes, I kind of get that. Like I said before, there are thousands out there I've not watched, but there's a reason for that. Yeah, because you'll probably think they're rubbish. That's why. And Mark said, not heard of this one. This is becoming a weekly tradition, is Mark saying, I've not heard of this one. To be fair, neither had I. I did, as soon as I saw the sleeve that you put with the post, I recognised it straight away. But if you'd have just put the title, no way. So, and you also mentioned the Tubi app. Just found the free Tubi app. It's not bad really from what I can see. Some random movies on there. Apparently it has 20,000 movies, and then there's the TV programs too. Just download the app. Everything is free on there. A lot of podcasts that I listen to that deal with sort of obscure, rare movies, they will usually be screening on Tubi. So I will take a look at that. I'm not sure what I'm going to download it to, whether it will be onto the PC or onto the rarely used iPad through there. That might be an idea to pop it on there actually. Jason K, you said Tubi is awesome. There's a big mix of good and bad content on there though, as there is with any streaming service, I guess. Jason P, you replied, first person I thought of was Tony. What? Why? Because of my taste in movies, obviously. I get the feeling that when I look at Tubi, I'm going to be really, really pleased with it. And I'm going to be looking at it thinking, oh, wow, that's on. Oh, God, yeah, got to take a look at that. So I think I'm going to be really impressed with Tubi, but we shall see in the fullness of time on that. Sam, I've not cut and pasted your comment on. I'm so sorry, dude. Um, what to do about this? I did enjoy your VHS finds, by the way. You put 4 on that you got from the charity shop. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Brilliant. I've got obviously the Blu-ray of that. 3 colours blue. I actually got, funny you should say that, the trilogy on Blu-ray for a good price as well. I think this was probably about £7 or £8 off Amazon. Or was it eBay? I can't remember. But I've had these recommended to me, and I literally can't wait to take a look at these. I think these are supposed to be really, really good. Are they German movies or are they Polish movies? I'm guessing Polish, looking at these. Doesn't say. But definitely looking forward to having a look at that. What else did you pick up? Independence Day. This is a movie I need to take another look at. I don't remember being overly impressed with it when I first saw it, for no other reason than I just wasn't. I don't know why. Enemy of the State. Never seen it. We had a couple of people, in fact I think pretty much everybody put it on their favourite, well, one of their favourite Will Smith movies on the thread that Jason runs. And everybody was basically telling me how good it was and how surprised they were that I'd not seen it. So it's one that I've got to add to the watch list for sure. So right, I think that's all my notes. I've actually got some bits that I want to show off here, but what I'll do is I will just pop back over to Facebook, or was it YouTube, and just copy and paste Sam's comment on, because I would hate to go through all this and not basically have recognised the fact that Sam's left a really awesome comment on YouTube. So I'll be back in a second. And we're back. Sam, I'm so sorry, dude. I can't believe I forgot to copy and paste your comments on. What have you got to say? Good morning, Tony. Great video as ever, mate. Cheers, Sam. Much appreciated. I remembered buying the VHS of Tomb of the Cybermen when I was 10 years young. And I watched it one October Saturday night, and the episode blew my mind. At 10 years old, I'm not surprised. I remembered the days of going to Huddersfield Market on a Saturday morning or afternoon, and I'd be buying some Doctor Who VHS tapes. Such fond memories. I do believe we used to have on Burton Market, when Burton Market existed, I'm sure there was a guy that used to sell paperback books, and I believe next to him, just let me centralise myself again. Maybe if I move. I'm fairly sure that next door, or a couple of stores away from him, there was a guy that sold VHS tapes and possibly DVDs. And I did used to pick up quite a few from there. Most of the Doctor Who DVDs I've got, I picked up from Amazon or eBay, or I bought retail from W.H. Smith. John Menzies, when that was it. Remember John Menzies when that existed? Yeah, I have fond memories of buying those, getting home and watching them for the first time. Absolutely loved them. I regretfully gave my Doctor Who tapes away in 2011 when I stopped buying VHS, but fast forward 12 to 13 years, I've been collecting the Doctor Who VHS again just for the stunning artwork. Not only for that, of course, but since the summer I've been rebuilding my VHS collection again. I hope to do my latest VHS update very soon. I think it's great that VHS is kind of coming back with a much younger sort of audience as such. Obviously people like me, Jason, possibly Mark, in fact pretty much all of us do remember VHS the first time round. I still remember working at W.T. Parker's when they had a showroom at the bottom of the station bridge, and I remember getting the first V2000 machine, and the tapes that went in that were the size of that. They were absolutely massive and probably about sort of that thick. They were huge, and somebody bought in a copy of the stud that they bought for themselves, and tried to get us to watch it in the shop, and obviously we couldn't do that for obvious reasons at the time. But yeah, VHS, happy days, very, very happy days. Spearhead from Space, one of the best Doctor debut stories out there. Them Autons used to give me the chills. They gave me the bloody chills as well. Really great episode, Tone. What's your thoughts on Terror of the Autons with Pertwee? Not as good as Spearhead from Space, but I do remember being creeped out by the doll. There was this little sort of horrible looking doll that came to life in the back seat of somebody's car. I do remember, is that the one with the telephone cord that was strangling people? I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's Doctor Who in the 70s for you. I need to watch Terror of the Autons again. I will get round to it. I'm slowly working my way through the Troughton episodes at the moment, but I'm fairly sure that at some point very soon I'm going to start on the Pertwee era. So I will be running into Spearhead from Space and also Terror of the Autons. So I'll give it another watch. But that doll in the back of the car seat, fuck me, that was creepy. I'm close to finishing rewatching The Demons. Classic Who right there. The Master is so sinister in that episode. Roger Delgado is my favourite Master. He was fantastic in every episode he was in. Absolutely brilliant. The best Master, bar none. I did enjoy the John Sim episodes. Was that with... was that with David Tennant? Can't remember. But John Sim played the Master very well. But the Master to me will always be Roger Delgado. There is no substitute. Can't wait for Horror Month to kick in when I start my traditional October horror marathon. I'm looking forward to make first time watches of Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary and the Dead trilogy from Romero. I've only seen the first Friday film, Friday the 13th, I assume you mean. So definitely looking forward to finally watching some of the sequels for this coming month. Is there any horror films that you plan on watching for October, Tony? I don't actually plan on watching any. Normally, somebody within the group does a sort of a horror marathon. It looks like it's going to be you this year, and possibly Jason, I don't know. There are movies that I would like to watch. I always tend to watch Halloween on Halloween night. Always. I don't know why, just always do. We did start watching the Friday the 13th movies a few Saturdays ago. So I would love to get to work on the sequels for those. I also bought, as you know, that Phantasm Arrow box set, which I would like to get started on. So, as I've said before, during the week it's very difficult for me to watch movies of any sort, because I can't normally stay awake long enough to see the end of them. So weekends really is the only time. So my horror marathon would probably be maybe a double bill on Saturday nights and maybe one on a Sunday, but not the way that you guys do it, because you watch them every night. So, but there are quite a few that I would like to take in, but I guess we'll be talking about that within the next couple of days, I should think, when October kicks in. So yes, there are quite a few that I would like to watch, Sam, but I don't know what they are yet. So hope you have a great weekend, bud. Thanks for the kind words as ever, and keep up the amazing work as always. Thanks, Sam, much appreciated. Thank you to all of you for the comments that you've been sending in as per usual. You do me proud pretty much every week, and as I've said before, without you guys I'd have nothing to talk about. I would not be sitting here doing this. So it is very much appreciated. The watch list, I think I showed this last week. There we go. That is the first month. Now, I believe there are 6 on there, unless I'm very much mistaken. A bit closer. There you go. Now, I have watched all but the last 40 minutes of Deadpool 2, but we'll wipe that out later on today, hopefully. The Crazies I'm planning on within the next couple of days. The Hangover I watched yesterday. The Outlaw Josie Wales was a couple of weeks ago. Waking Fright I've yet to watch, and Attack the Block I've watched, and basically wasn't impressed with the you know how that goes. So to that list I'm going to be adding another 10 within the next few days. So I'll show you what they are next week. I'll also read out what because obviously each movie that you watch, you fill out this, which is like, you've got here director, year, genre, length, rated, main actors, quick summary, review, favourite character or part, least favourite character or part, Attack the Block, it will be all of them. And Notes and Thoughts and Overall Score, which I'm looking forward to getting to grips with that, because that will be an interesting record of what I've watched without actually sort of waffling on for too long about them. So, right, I'm going to wrap it up after I've shown you a couple of bits that I've bought here. Just bear with me. A few Blu-rays. Now, I know that I said I was going to be slowing down in October, and I will be doing. I've got one, maybe two left to arrive from September, and then I'm going to limit it to one or two a week, and only if I really, really want them, because I have been going just a little bit wappy over the last 6 months. I've got way more than I need. So I do need to get into a state where I've basically, not ordering more than I can watch. Because it's pointless. They just sit there gathering dust, and I know that most of them will end up at the charity shop anyway. So the first one for this week, The Virgin Soldiers. This is the original from 1969, I believe. Yep. I haven't seen this for many years. This was a staple of Saturday night viewing years and years ago. This used to be on at least once or twice a year, usually on ITV, usually after 10 o'clock. Obviously based on the Leslie Thomas novel. What I'm really hoping for now is a Blu-ray release of Stand Up Virgin Soldiers, which is the sequel to this, which was released around about 1976, I believe. Very, 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 very difficult to get hold of. If you can find a VHS of that, you'll be lucky, let alone a Blu-ray or a DVD. So hopefully now, labels like this, Indicator, Imprint, one of them will pick it up and release that on Blu-ray, because I would love to see a Blu-ray copy of that. Next one, podcast fodder again. I listen to the Real Britannia podcast every week, where they basically talk about British films from sort of from the 30s onwards. And this sounded fascinating. I've never ever heard of it. It's an oldish film from 1960. Does it say here? Sod. No, it don't. I think it's mid-60s if I remember right. Or is it 1961? Damn it, it doesn't say. 1963. This was quite adult in its subject matter at the time. The Small World of Sammy Lee. As I say, never heard of it. Listened to the podcast and immediately thought, I need to watch that. That sounds absolutely amazing. I've not had a chance yet because it's still in the cellophane. Look. But I will be taking a look at that one at some point. Anthony Newley stars in this, and I believe there are a host of British stars in here that you would probably know their faces, but you wouldn't know the names, apart from Warren Mitchell, who obviously was Alf Garnett, Miriam Carlin, who played the lady in the rag trade, the union leader. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, can't wait to have a look at that one. And this one, Stuart, you were showing this one off last week. I couldn't resist. As soon as I saw it, I thought, I want that. And that is Rosemary's Baby on 4K. I think I've got this on VHS somewhere, but I can't find it anywhere. So I thought, you know what? Bite the bullet and just grab it. So I'll just show you this. Stuart's already shown this off, but I'll show you my my version of it. That's obviously what it opens out into. And then in there you've got that. In there you've got that. And you've got a lot of supplemental bits in here as well. Where are we? Whoops. What's that? Pray for Rosemary's Baby. That's a little sticker that's just dropped out of it. That's over there. You've also got, if you watch Stuart George's video, you'd have already seen this, but just in case you haven't, it smells nice. That's an addictive smell. The movie poster. There you go. So that's nice. That sits nicely in there. You've also got, what's this? Oh, production notes for Rosemary's Baby. So, all sorts of bits to do with the script, I'm guessing. This, I don't really know what this is supposed to be. Little card that says all of them witches, and it says the same on the other side. Oh, no, all of them witches comes with the fall. I need to watch the movie to find out what that's all about. And then you've got these rather nice art cards. I'm going to break the seal on it because I can't show them you otherwise. There we go. And you got one there of Mia Farrow. Another one. There we go. That one shows the amazing Ruth Gordon. What a lady she was. If you've not seen a movie called Harold and Maude, watch that and you will see why I love Ruth Gordon. So that's that one. Another. And one more. Mia Farrow not looking at her best. So really looking forward to having a look what that looks like on 4K. I've seen Rosemary's Baby several times. Absolutely brilliant horror movie, directed by obviously Roman Polanski. And this one, this is podcast. This is all podcast's fault again. And this is again Real Britannia. I was listening to one that was to do with a movie called Up in the World, starring Norman Wisdom. And I suddenly realised I've only seen probably 2 or 3 of Norman Wisdom's movies. On the Beat, I think, was one. Trouble in Store was another. And I believe a late 60s one called What's Good for the Goose. And also The Early Bird. Is that on here? It is. The Norman Wisdom collection. I need to go onto his filmography and see how many more he did, because I'm fairly sure he did more than what is in this. But this box set, £3, believe it or not, off Amazon. I mean, you can't say no to that with all these movies on it. So these were good Saturday afternoon sort of movies, and that's what they're going to be. I've got a book. I saw this and could not resist it. Obviously, Amazon gives you the option of reading a small sample of books. And I did, and I absolutely had to have this Psychedelic Celluloid. If I can just find a couple, you see, this is, there we go. That's a lot of the movies that are featured in it. If I can just find one that, let's see, I probably should have done this before. But I'm trying to find one that you'll know. Well, funny enough. Here we go. What's Good for the Goose? That's that Norman Wisdom one I was talking about a minute ago. I don't think these are in any kind of chronological order, so it won't be like going from like 65 onwards. Entertaining Mr. Sloane, which was based on a Joe Orton play. Universal Soldier. No, I don't think it's the Dolph Lundgren one. There are so... Oh. The Legend That Is a Clockwork Orange. I love books like this that you can just dip into and just read a couple of pages of and put away and then get it out again. Love that. Can't wait to get into that. And there's a couple of magazines. I'm not sure I showed this one off last week. Yours Retro, latest issue. You've got articles on Gone with the Wind, Elvis. Let's see, The Lost Interviews with Ava Gardner. 1970 stunt. How did they make Superman fly? Norman Wisdom is in this. Star Trek, Sesame Street. That's all sorts in there. The latest Doctor Who magazine, which I'm hoping has got some classic Who in there rather than just all the new stuff. And also the latest Empire, which you've got the Wolfman, Paddington 3, red one, 40 years of the Terminator on the cover. Let's see. John Woo, didn't he do one called Hard Boiled? I believe he also did Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. Let's see, Steve McQueen taking on World War II with new epic blitz. Oh, it's not the Steve McQueen. I always confuse him. Steve McQueen, the director, not Steve McQueen, the actor who was in The Great Escape. So. Right, that is it, guys. I'm going to bring this to a close. Let's see. I think I've gone slightly over an hour, but that's not too bad. Thanks ever so much for joining me, as per usual. And once again, thanks ever so much for all your comments, your questions. Keep them coming and keep posting on the group, because it's the group that gives me the stuff that I've got to talk about, and also obviously your comments on a Saturday. I always look forward to reading them, always. And obviously, as I say, without you guys, none of this would exist. So thanks ever so much to all of you. You're a cracking bunch of people, and I couldn't do this without you. So thanks ever so much for joining me. As I've said, have a brilliant week next week, and I'll be back with you hopefully about the same time next week. Have a great week, folks. Take care, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Ta-da.